Clickbait, there's 7 tips. So you've got your Legion Go 2 and you're wanting even more tips because if you didn't know, we've already done a full tips and tricks video, so make sure you check that out. But this is even more tips, stuff that I've been doing that I've been enjoying and I just wanted to show you because you keep asking about it. So the first one is Lenovo's official joystick caps. Because before I was using the Skull & Co Savage Raven ones, which I still love, but the official ones actually work better. So I said previously that I was going to buy these. These are for the original Legion Go, and they do fit. So you do actually get different types in here, but I've chosen, and I bought the whole pack for one in particular, which are these because they are convex. So they actually like dome out entirely. Now these are wicked for FPS games. I actually put this style of joystick cap on every controller I use, every handheld I get, because it's just way more accurate. And specifically what I like about the official ones is that they are super small. So they are very, very tight in and they fit the stick absolutely perfectly. Whereas I found other competitors' ones that you can buy were chunkier. So they're wider, which causes an issue for one of the next tips we'll be looking at. So these actually are way, way better. And this is just the official ones. They had them on sale on the Lenovo store, but you can find them elsewhere. There will be links in the description as well. And despite the fact that I've shown this in another video, I'm going to show it here because this is the #1 thing I get asked about. Andy, what case do you have? What case do you have? Where can I get that case? What is that? Well, this is currently like the only Legion Go 2 case that you can get. It is just random, nondescript TPU case on the internet. They're all the same. They're just from different resellers and stuff. It comes from China, but it was still only £15 here in the UK. That's probably like less than $20. Now, these are absolutely brilliant, but equally there's some things I don't like about it. And that's kind of why I've not gone into detail before about this, because I just wanted more time with it. So I still recommend it, but there is a couple of issues. So what I do like about it is it's really, really well made, despite the fact it's just nondescript like China product, right? I like this. This, whilst it looks gloss, is actually like some weird rubber and it makes it super grippy on the back. The ergonomics of this thing are really good and there's just good like grip all the way around this thing. Like really, really well done for just like a non-brander. Now, first dislike is it's kind of difficult to get on. This is the only time I've taken it off for this video just to show you, right? And it's a little bit easier, I'd say, to get out, but I'd recommend putting it in this way, which is a little bit of a pain. I'm going to just turn the screen off on the Legion, right? And I'm going to try and put the triggers in first because this is like the breaking point, right? So I'm just going to try and lift this up and over. It's going to be pretty janky, but do you see how that's like not in there really? And I'm going to then push from the base up and hope that I don't break my triggers, which I'm not doing, right? And then I'm just going to try and gently push the bottom in, because if you do it the other way round, there we go, it's now fully in, perfect, right? Because if you do it the other way round, which seems logical, it seems right to put the base in, but I'd recommend against it just because I've handled hundreds and hundreds of cases for all different types of handhelds over the years on this channel, and in the past I've had issues with triggers with this type of case, where you put it in on the bottom first and then you really try and force the grip over these triggers, right? And this bit that comes around the front here can get caught on your trigger. You can literally break your trigger or anything like that because it's such a form-fitting case, right? If this was cut here and here, you wouldn't have that issue because it would just slide over, but then this would be really loose because it loses some integrity. So I highly recommend putting the tops in first, like I just showed you, right? And then just slowly with a bit of pressure, pop the base in. And the same with getting this off. I'm not going to do it, but pull the base off first and try and push from the back to pop the base out and then lift out so that you avoid damaging your triggers and bumpers. So that's one thing that's kind of annoying. The next kind of annoying thing is with the thumbstick caps, my first tip, right? these actually very slightly rub. So whilst it's a wicked design and it actually comes around and curves around the face buttons, I really like this design. It feels great to me. I can still access everything. This one is the issue. If you take this off, like the joystick cap off, then it's fine. Like there's no interference because they've designed this just with the like standard joysticks, right? But if you put any cap on it, that corner right there, that like little bump just here as it curves around the joystick like gate, right? That little bump only in that direction, you could just feel that little bump just there. That's it. You can't feel it here. You can't feel it anywhere else, obviously, but just there, just a little bump, kind of annoying. So yeah, that's another negative. And of course, the third negative is, well, it's a complete housing, right? So you can't take the Joy-Cons off anymore, whatever they called. And that kind of annoys me because it's a big feature and I actually like playing this in like tablet mode when I'm being lazy. I put the tablet on the side of the chair, take the Joy-Cons off, and I play it like that. It's actually really nice. But the good things is that it fits perfectly. The kickstand works perfectly still, so it still works. There's no issue there. It's got full coverage, so the base of your device is covered. All the cutouts are aligned perfectly, better so than some big companies for other devices that release stuff. So that's a good thing. So yeah, perfect cutouts all the way around. Kickstand works great. Now, what I do also like about it, like I said, is the improved ergonomics, and mainly for one reason. And that reason is these. So these like side paddly things, I really like. I rebind all these buttons to loads of different stuff like AFMF. So I like having all the additional buttons, but what I don't like is feeling these buttons, because sometimes if I readjust my grip, I press those buttons, and because I bind them, even though they come unbound by default, so they won't actually do anything, people just don't like pressing them. But for me, it's even more annoying because they are bound, right? So if I press them by accident, I start doing stuff that I don't want. Whereas this grip completely like hides them. However, you can still push them. So they've made like these little cutouts, right? Which means it is actually still usable as a button. You just need to put more force on it. And this is so much nicer. This is like my number one reason why I love this thing, not just for the added protection and the added grip, because it does actually really help, and you can still access all the other buttons and even the scroll wheel, right? Like everything is great about it. This is the main thing, which is perfect. Now, whilst I said that I really like this grip, because I really do, because you can't take the Joy-Cons off, and because there's that little bit of rubbing just there on that top corner when using a joystick like cover, right? I'm very tempted to like hack it up with a blade. And what I mean by that is literally just cut it so that it would literally be just Joy-Con grips, right? However, that's going to be ugly. I know it will be. I know I won't be able to make it look pretty, so I'm kind of against it, and I don't really want to buy another one either. If I mess it up, I mean, it's just wasted money, right? So I'm probably just going to leave it as it is. But yeah, so just be aware, a bit of rubbing in the corner. You can't take the Joy-Cons off, and it's a little bit fiddly to put in and out, but if you can get over that, I highly recommend this because it's the only option on the market right now. And if you're bothered by these side buttons, absolutely this fixes it. Now, this one's going to upset a lot of people because loads of people love the OLED screen. I do too, don't get me wrong. However, I'm a fan of matte OLEDs. I've got a matte OLED screen behind me. I've got a gaming matte OLED monitor downstairs as well. I prefer matte because I get loads of reflections everywhere, especially here in the studio, right? And somehow Lenovo made the most glossy screen I have ever seen in my life, and it kind of annoys me. So I've been on a search for weeks now for the ultimate matte screen protector. I'm sorry, if you're a gloss aficionado, I'll link a gloss screen protector that absolutely works that I used to use down in the description, but I have found a matte one that does work and is made for the Legion Go 2. So prior to installing the matte one, there's just reflections everywhere. I can see my face in it. I can see all the lights in it. It's just really frustrating. It bugs me to no end. So now I've got around that with this. This is the upscreen hybrid matte protector, and now you can see the difference, right? Like, you can't see my face in it anymore. You can see my top because it's really white, but it completely eliminates like that glare. It's more akin to if you've come from a Steam Deck OLED, like 1 terabyte one with an etch screen, it's kind of like that. So there's some pros and some cons here that I'm going to have to let you know about, right? The pro is it completely mattifies the screen, so there's no more like reflections, right? And it is so much better for me personally in the studio with lights and everything. It makes it feel more premium because you can just like use it everywhere, like outside on a train and in the car, like whatever. You're not getting reflections everywhere. And for me, it's specifically in my house or in the studio here, it's just so much better. The negatives, however, is you do get a slight reduction in image quality. And what I mean by that is because this is a screen protector with a matte finish, it's mattified like film over the top of glass or whatever it is, right? So what it does is it kind of makes the image look very minorly oily. That's the best way I can describe it. It's got like a very slight oily image on the display. It's probably impossible to pick up with the camera. It's really hard to see it. The best way you can see it is on like a white image, where on an OLED that would be blinding white, especially with the HDR on, right? But with this, you can sort of see like a little bit of oily effect. Now, for me personally, I got over it in like a day. I've been using matte protectors on everything for a long time now, so I kind of know what to expect. If you're not expecting it, you'll be like, oh, what's happened to my image quality? But honestly, if you can get past that, if gloss really bugs you, I think it's a worthwhile trade-off because the image quality is still up there. I'd say it's still like 90%. You're just losing like 10% with this weird like oily haze over everything. But honestly, you just don't notice, especially when I'm sat gaming and have my screen like, I don't know, what's that, a foot away from me? There's no way I can see it. Like when I'm in a game and playing it, I do not notice at all. If I'm like this and looking at the thing, I'm like, whoa, look at that. You know, like it's kind of annoying. But yeah, so there is a trade-off. The other benefit is if you're like me and you use the touchscreen more than the trackpad, these matte screen protectors are almost like those paper protectors you get for tablets for drawing on. Almost. They're not as aggressive as that, but they make it like anti-fingerprint. So let's just turn the screen off. There's like no fingerprints that you can put on this thing, and that's a big one for me because I hate fingerprints. I always carry these around everywhere and it really bugs me. But this, really good. Like it completely kills the fingerprints, even though I just spat on the screen. So yeah, huge one for me. I think they are worthwhile. If gloss really bugs you, then absolutely get one of these. I'll put the link in the description. Good luck trying to get it. It comes from Germany. Now the next thing is, of course, something I've discussed a couple of times in the past, Xbox full screen experience. Microsoft were like, yeah, we're going to roll it out to everybody on the 21st, and then just didn't. Even the Asus Ally X, the ROG one that I've got here, still hasn't got it. What's going on with that, Microsoft? So I've shown people previously how to Vive tool hack this to get Xbox full screen experience working. I've also shown you how to remove that in another video as well, and how officially to get it once it rolls out. It's still not rolled out, and I'm kind of done with not having it on here. So there is a way now where you can get this easy as a one-click option, and that is via the Xbox full screen experience tool, which is found on GitHub. So I've downloaded it from GitHub here. So I'm just going to click next, and then we're going to wait for it to install. Once it's installed, we're going to hit close. And then I'm just going to check for updates on Windows Store and Microsoft Store. Okay, so now on your desktop will be this. I'm just going to double click on it and say, yeah, basically, yes, just run this random program I've got and hope for the best. And then what we're going to do is literally hit enable full screen experience with one button. The settings have been applied successfully. Restart your computer. So I'm going to go, yeah, okay. Oh, it's already doing it for me. So there we go. Once you've restarted, go into settings. We're going to go to gaming, and now you've got full screen experience on the top. Going to choose Xbox, enter full screen experience on startup, and that's it. Now what I'm going to do is open the Xbox app, and we've got Xbox full screen in the corner. So I'm going to hit Xbox full screen and restart optimize performance or start now, no performance changes. I'm just going to do start now just because, you know, I'm filming this video. Now, a couple of things I've done in Legion space is I've rebound this button just here to be Windows button plus G, which now brings up game bar. And then what I've done on this one is Windows plus tab, and that brings up your switcher just here, right? Which is really, really helpful for me because I can just go through and use Xbox full screen experience. Nice and easy. There's a couple of other things as well, is I've shown these on other videos in the widget store, which is just here. You can download for free SteamGridDB, which lets you change all the artwork of your like Steam games and Epic games and stuff like that. So let's go to library. Instead of it being the stupid little tiles, it's actually like the full artwork. So you can see here, there's a demo where it's that stupid little tile, right? But I've gone through and I've changed all of these to be like the full things other than that demo as well. But so the artwork is way nicer. I've got a more in-depth video on the channel if you want to check that out as well. But yeah, just a nice, easy tip to do. Now, the reason I like using this GitHub installer is because it's way easier to uninstall versus the Vive tool hack. So when you're done, right, you can literally just open up the Xbox full screen thing again that's on your desktop, and you can hit disable and restore, and that's it. It's got rid of it. So when Lenovo and Microsoft finally roll this out officially, we could just hit disable and restore, delete that app, and then just install it correctly. I'm not in Windows Insider or anything like that, right? This is just the official 25H2 version of Windows, so it just works. And of course, I'm going to assume that you've not seen my other videos on the Legion Go 2. So one big tip I recommend is changing out your SSD. So I actually swapped mine out for the SN7100, right? A 4 terabyte one by WD Black. This is a super efficient drive, really, really good. And I've been using it in this since day one for the past few months now, and I highly recommend it. I've got an in-depth video on the channel on step-by-step how to take apart your Legion Go 2 correctly and safely, and how to clone your drive and swap this out very, well, I want to say very easy. It's a very simple process if you take it slow. I highly recommend checking out our video. And I'm still assuming you've not been watching our other videos, and yeah, you know by now, right? This beautiful OLED screen is capable of HDR 1000. Amazing, but 99% of people calibrate it incorrectly because Windows treats internal screens on laptops and handhelds like this badly, so it's not done how you think it would be done. So once again, I've got another video. I'll link all these like in the description or at the end of this video, right? But I've got a step-by-step calibration guide on how to calibrate the screen correctly, and honestly, it makes the screen go from amazing to incredible. So I highly recommend you go and watch that video. And of course, the final tip is another plug for another video we've done, because I'm still assuming that you've not been watching our videos, and that video is the original tips and tricks video I've done for the Legion Go 2, where I focus on performance. But I will give you a teaser just here, right? What I'm going to do is give you the most important one that I see people get wrong. So open up your side panel thing, right? Go to performance up here, and then you've got your TDP modes, right? You can do custom ones if you want, or you can do the performance one, which is normally what I actually stick to because it's 20 watts, and I like playing handheld unplugged. So 20 watts is like the best performance. We've got loads of like benchmark videos on the channel as well if you're interested in that, like comparing it against other handhelds as well. But anyway, the one thing I see people get wrong is this OS power mode. You think performance is going to increase performance. You're wrong. It's actually going to take performance away from the GPU. This is basically focusing on the CPU side of the APU. So the APU in this device is one chip that's divided between the CPU and the GPU. They both reside on the same chip. If you put this to performance, what you're doing is diverting power away from the GPU to the CPU. So you're actually giving the CPU more power and the GPU less power. And you will notice on certain games that you will get stuttering and bad performance because you're basically putting all the power to the CPU instead of the GPU. And I think it's about a 50 to 70% power divert on performance to the CPU. Balanced is somewhere around the like 30% push to the CPU, and efficiency is 0% push. So what that does is it lets the GPU clock speeds ramp up because you're not putting all the power to the CPU, you're putting it now back to the GPU, which lets games run way better, providing the game is GPU heavy. If you've got a CPU heavy game, then definitely use performance. If you are multitasking on this thing and using this for productivity, I don't know, like doing video editing or something like that, then definitely put it on performance, right? But for gaming, I stick it on efficiency. If I notice a game is more CPU heavy by using the overlay, right? So if I go here and then do frame rate monitor and do all, if I see that a game is really heavy on the CPU, I can go back here and change this to balance or performance to give the CPU side a bit more of a boost. If you're emulating and stuff like that, you're going to be wanting to put it on balance or performance. But in general gaming, modern gaming, put this on efficiency and you will see performance gains. And if you like that, then there's way more tips and tricks in that video that I mentioned as well. So there we have it. Let us know what tips from this list you are going to be doing or have done already. I'd love to know your thoughts on matte screen protectors versus gloss. You probably love gloss. I like matte. I'm sorry, you know, it's just the way things are. People like different things, right? If you've got more tips and tricks for me, let me know down in the comments because I would love to know myself personally as well. And I might just shout you out in another video if I get enough of them to make another tips and tricks video. But every time I find out something new or whatever, like more tips and tricks, there will be more videos. So make sure you subscribe. Whilst you're down there, like this video, subscribe, I've just said that twice. Become a member and you get to chat to us over on our private Discord as well. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.